Well, this is called an unforced error. Gap thought it was doing the right thing when it came out with a Unity hoodie, half of it red, half of it blue, promoting the fact that we are now singing Kumbaya politically in this country. What a mistake that was. They got riddled on Twitter and now have been forced to pull the product back. What the heck happened here? Let's bring in our marketing expert. He is Adam Rizzieri. Adam knows marketing inside out. He is the Chief Marketing Officer of Agency Partners in Iraq. Adam, how are you today? Thanks for joining us.
Ken, great to be with you again.
I want to ask you about what Gap did, because they've come out now, or they came out with a hoodie, and the hoodie was half red, half blue, and it said Unity. In the middle of a presidential election, in the middle of a country where unity is simply not existent. What were they thinking?
Yeah, so here's kind of the deal. So November 4th, just the day after voting closed up, the Gap marketing team posted this tweet that was fully intended to promote this concept of American unity, very clearly following, I would say, one of the most divisive political campaigns we've seen in recent history. And this tweet said this. It said, "The one thing we know is that together we can move forward." The tweet also had two emojis on there. There was a blue heart and a red heart. And, of course, that's to represent Democrats and Republicans, right? So without question, the Gap, as a big retailer, was truly trying to promote this positive message, obviously expecting that we were going to have a more clear and decisive result. Now, this is a big retailer, right? They don't just release social media messages without thinking about it. They go through an approval process. They've probably actually had this tweet ready to go for over a week. And so my guess is that following their approval process, I mean, they probably create a content calendar at least a month or two in advance. Mm-hmm. So this thing was probably just automatically triggered and ready to go. And here's the thing. I think that's unfortunate. They're now having to apologize for promoting a positive message following an American process that allows for a free and fair transfer of power, following a true election process that's intact and has integrity. So obviously this message was planned with this legal battle kind of ensuing, but that's just kind of the reality that we're in. My guess is that the marketing team at Gap probably isn't thinking about when Al Gore contested his presidential campaign for about 30 days. They probably thought this thing was going to be decided Tuesday night.
Yeah. Well, so did a lot of us. But I mean, even if you thought that, think this: 70 million people voted for Donald Trump, and they're not ready for unity yet. I know a lot of people are exhausted from the election. There are tens of millions of people that aren't accepting the election as it is. They still think there's something wrong with the process in Arizona and Nevada and Pennsylvania. I'm a big believer in taking the temperature of a room before I do anything. They clearly didn't take the temperature of the room before they did this.
You're exactly right. Like I said, this thing was probably planned to release several days in advance, if not further than that. The reality is this is an incredibly close election. Like you said, this is, in aggregate, the most voters that have actually turned out to vote historically, more so than ever, right? So who could have anticipated that it would be this close? That's just the reality. I think probably for this type of message, though, knowing how heated this particular political contest is, they probably should have had a quick review before this post went live, but they didn't, and that's just the reality. There is probably some other things at play here. This fairly innocent message from a big retailer that's doing nothing but trying to sell product during a tough pandemic. They're trying to stay relevant. They're trying to stay timely. They're trying to stay positive. A lot of brands make a decision to take a really strong approach to the left or to the right. Obviously we've seen that with a lot of retailers, but here's the Gap trying to be more of a centrist, trying to be more of an optimist. But the thing is Twitter as a social platform it's not exactly a free and fair discussion.
You think?
so, you could try to be as positive as you want on Twitter, whether you're a person or a brand, but you're going to have trolls that come out from the right and from the left, and they ultimately are going to throw fuel on a fire that otherwise wouldn't be a fire at all.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if you're looking for any kind of sanity, Twitter is the worst place to look for it. But honestly, I think as divided as we are, and we are going to remain divided for a long time, it's just the way this country is. I just think it's probably a good rule of thumb not to weigh into politics, regardless of what your message is. If you're a major retailer or someone that doesn't want to lose half of his or her customers at this point, I think maybe this is as well-intentioned as this may be, it could be a good warning shot for a lot of other companies at this point, don't you?
Ken, that's good marketing advice, frankly. The thing is the biggest motivator of a purchase decision is going to be price and quality and also service, if that's a thing, depending on whether it's a service or a product company. As a retailer, obviously consumers are going to be watching what big businesses do when it comes to their position on social matters. That's just what the data says. But there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. I think in this case, the Gap's probably not going to see any sort of long-term effect from this tweet. But ultimately, to just stay ahead of the game, to stay on top of everything that's going on, and all those conversations that can be super divisive, focus on providing a great quality of product or quality of service. Try to get really competitive pricing in there. And if you have those two things intact, even if your leadership happens to have a more political lean left or right, people are still going to buy from you if it's convenient.
And probably just take the temperature of the room. Adam Rizzieri, Chief Marketing Officer, Agency Partners Interactive. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.